Florence Scovel Shinn declared, "Say this each morning and wealth will appear." There exists a mystical moment each morning when the veil between the physical and spiritual realms grows thin, when your consciousness emerges from the depths of sleep into the brilliant possibility of a new day. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this sacred threshold better than perhaps any spiritual teacher of her time. She recognized that within these precious moments of awakening lies the most powerful opportunity to align your entire being with the infinite abundance that is your divine birthright. The morning hour is not merely the beginning of another day. It is the resurrection of your spiritual power, the renewal of your connection to the source of all supply, and the moment when your words carry their greatest creative force. In those first conscious moments, before the world has impressed its limitations upon your mind, before doubt has crept in, before fear has whispered its lies, you stand in perfect position to decree your reality according to divine law rather than human appearance. Florence taught that our words are living things, vibrating with creative power, and in the morning, when our minds are clear and our hearts are open, these words become vessels of transformation. She declared, "Your word is your wand filled with magic and power." But this magic is not fantasy. It is the fundamental law of creation itself working through your conscious direction. When you speak your truth in the morning, you are not begging an external deity for favors. You are claiming your identity as a divine being, acknowledging that infinite intelligence flows through you, and declaring that the same power that creates worlds now creates prosperity, health, and perfect right action in your life. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual fact. The universe is not withholding abundance from you. You have simply forgotten how to receive it. Consider this. If you knew with absolute certainty that your words could shape reality, how carefully would you choose them? If you understood that the first thoughts and declarations of your day set the vibrational tone for everything that follows, would you continue to begin each morning with worry, complaint, or casual indifference? Florence knew that most people unconsciously program their day for struggle by speaking carelessly about their circumstances instead of speaking deliberately about their desires. The morning declaration is not about convincing God to give you what you want. It is about aligning yourself with what God has already given you. Every good thing you desire already exists in the realm of infinite possibilities. Your morning words are the bridge between that invisible realm and your visible experience. They are the key that unlocks the storehouse of heaven and allows its treasures to flow into your earthly life. When Florence said, "There is a supply for every demand," she was revealing a fundamental spiritual law. But supply does not automatically appear without your conscious cooperation. You must demand it through recognition, claim it through declaration, and receive it through faith. The morning hour is when this sacred process begins, when you step into your role as co-creator with the divine and speak your life into its highest expression. Words are not merely sounds that disappear into the air. They are seeds of manifestation planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that every word you speak is a decree to the subconscious mind, which accepts whatever you tell it as absolute truth and immediately begins to arrange circumstances to match your declarations. This is why the morning ritual of conscious speaking is so profoundly transformative. When you declare each morning, "Divine intelligence now manifests perfect supply through me," you are not speaking to your circumstances. You are speaking to the creative power within you that shapes circumstances. You are addressing the infinite intelligence that knows exactly how to bring abundance into your life through channels you have never imagined. You are activating the law of circulation that moves mountains and opens doors that no human effort could budge. Florence emphasized that we must speak as if our good has already manifested, not as if we are trying to make it happen. There is a world of difference between saying, "I hope I will have enough money," and declaring, "I am abundantly supplied with all the money I need for my highest good." The first statement acknowledges lack as your current reality and actually reinforces it. The second statement claims abundance as your spiritual truth and instructs your subconscious mind to make it your physical reality. The morning declaration works because it bypasses the rational mind that would argue with your good and speaks directly to the deeper levels of consciousness that do not question, but only obey. When you consistently declare your prosperity first thing each morning, you are literally rewiring your belief system, replacing limitation with limitlessness, scarcity with abundance, fear with faith. But here is where many people stumble. They speak their declarations while secretly doubting their power. Florence taught that doubt neutralizes declaration. If you say, "I am prosperous," while thinking, "but I don't see any evidence of it," you are working against yourself. The morning practice requires what she called reckless faith, the willingness to believe in your good despite appearances, to trust in spiritual law even when human logic protests. This is why the morning hour is so crucial. In those first moments of consciousness, before the external world has reminded you of your problems, you can speak from pure faith rather than contaminated hope. You can declare your truth before your five senses have a chance to argue with it. You can claim your inheritance before the world tells you that you are unworthy to receive it. Every morning, you stand at a crossroads. You can either rehearse yesterday's limitations or declare today's possibilities. You can either focus on what appears to be missing from your life or acknowledge the infinite supply that is always available to you. The choice you make in those first conscious moments will determine whether you spend your day creating or merely reacting, manifesting or simply managing. Florence understood that most people are unconsciously hypnotized by their circumstances. They look at their bank account and declare poverty. They observe their challenges and declare limitation. They focus on problems and wonder why problems multiply. But the spiritually awakened person does exactly the opposite. They declare the truth of their being regardless of appearance, knowing that appearance is only the outpicturing of their past thinking and has no power to dictate their future reality. There is a consciousness behind every condition, and nowhere is this more evident than in the realm of finances. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that poverty is not the absence of money. It is the presence of poverty consciousness. Wealth is not merely the accumulation of dollars. It is the recognition of your divine right to unlimited supply. This understanding revolutionizes everything about how you relate to money and abundance. Most people have been programmed from childhood to believe that money is scarce, that they must struggle to earn it, that there is not enough to go around, that wanting wealth is somehow unspiritual. These beliefs form what Florence called a money consciousness that repels the very thing you say you want. Every morning when you wake up worried about bills, focused on lack, or believing that money is difficult to obtain, you are strengthening the very consciousness that keeps abundance away from you. But when you declare each morning, "I am heir to the riches of the kingdom of heaven, and they now manifest in my earthly experience," you are breaking free from mass hypnosis about money and claiming your true identity as a divine being with unlimited access to supply. You are recognizing that the same infinite intelligence that created the universe is the source of your supply, and that source never runs dry, never has a bad economy, never experiences shortage. Florence taught that God is the source of your supply, not your job, not the economy, not other people. When you truly understand this, you stop looking to limited channels for unlimited good. You stop being afraid when one stream of income disappears because you know that infinite intelligence has countless ways to prosper you. You stop accepting limitation as permanent because you recognize it as only a temporary outpicturing of limited thinking. The morning declaration works by gradually dissolving the false beliefs that have kept you locked in financial struggle. Each time you declare your prosperity, you are literally erasing the programming of lack and installing the truth of abundance. You are telling your subconscious mind that poverty is not your portion, that struggle is not your story, that lack is not your legacy. Consider how many mornings you have awakened with money worries as your first thoughts. Consider how many days you have begun by reviewing your financial problems instead of declaring your financial freedom. Consider how much creative energy you have wasted trying to figure out how your good will come instead of simply claiming that it is already on its way. Florence would tell you that every moment spent in financial anxiety is a moment spent in prayer for more financial difficulty. But there is another way. There is a consciousness of unlimited supply, where money flows to you as naturally as breath flows through you, where opportunities appear seemingly out of nowhere, where you are always in the right place at the right time to receive your good. This consciousness is not developed through struggle or strain, but through the daily practice of declaring your truth regardless of appearance. When you say each morning, "My supply comes from God, and God's supply is limitless," you are not denying the reality of money. You are recognizing the reality behind money. You are acknowledging that the same power that creates stars and planets is the power that creates wealth in your life. You are claiming your place in the divine economy where there is no recession, no shortage, no unemployment for those who know their true source. Everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies, and your financial experience is simply the physical manifestation of the vibration you consistently hold about money and abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this metaphysical principle long before quantum physics began to prove what mystics had always known. Consciousness creates reality through vibrational resonance. Every morning, you wake up with the opportunity to tune your inner radio to the frequency of abundance or the frequency of lack. Your thoughts, feelings, and words all contribute to the overall vibration you broadcast to the universe, and the universe responds by bringing you experiences that match that vibration. This is why your morning declarations are so powerful. They literally reset your vibrational frequency to align with your desires rather than your current circumstances. When you declare, "I now receive my perfect income doing what I love," you are not just speaking words into the air. You are shifting your entire energetic signature to match the reality you are claiming. You are moving from the vibration of want to the vibration of having, from the frequency of struggle to the frequency of ease, from the energy of limitation to the energy of limitless supply. Florence taught that you must feel your good before you see it, and feeling is simply vibration made conscious. When you can genuinely feel wealthy while declaring your abundance each morning, you are operating in the same vibration as wealth itself. The universe has no choice but to deliver experiences that match this vibration, because that is how the law of attraction operates at its deepest level. But here is where most people struggle. They try to think their way into a wealthy vibration instead of feeling their way there. They repeat affirmations while their emotions remain stuck in fear, anxiety, and doubt. Florence knew that the subconscious mind responds more to what you feel than to what you think, which is why she emphasized the importance of getting into the feeling of your good before the evidence appears. This is why the morning practice is so transformative. In those first moments of awakening, before the weight of daily responsibilities has settled upon you, you have the perfect opportunity to feel your way into abundance. You can imagine what it would feel like to have all the money you need. You can experience the relief, the gratitude, the excitement of financial freedom. You can literally vibrate yourself into alignment with wealth. The key is understanding that you don't need to see the money to feel wealthy. Florence taught that feeling is the secret, and when you can feel abundant despite appearances, you are operating from the same consciousness that creates abundance. You are no longer a victim of circumstances, but a creator of reality. No longer at the mercy of the economy, but aligned with the infinite economy of spirit. Every morning, when you declare your prosperity while feeling genuinely grateful for it, you are broadcasting a clear signal to the universe. I am ready to receive my good. The universe receives this signal and begins orchestrating people, situations, and opportunities to fulfill your request. This is not magic. This is science. The science of consciousness, creating through vibrational alignment. When your vibration matches your vision, manifestation becomes inevitable. This is why Florence insisted that we must live from our answer rather than in our problem. You cannot solve a financial problem by staying in the vibration of the problem. You can only solve it by moving into the vibration of the solution and staying there until the solution manifests. One of Florence Scovel Shinn's most profound teachings was the principle of circulation, the understanding that abundance flows like a river, and you must keep it moving to keep it coming. She taught that hoarding creates stagnation while giving creates circulation, and circulation is the secret to never-ending supply. This principle transforms your entire relationship with money from one of fear and grasping to one of trust and flow. Every morning when you declare, "What is mine by divine right cannot be taken from me, and I freely give and freely receive," you are aligning yourself with the natural law of circulation that governs all life. You are recognizing that just as your breath must be released in order to receive new breath, your money must be circulated in order to create space for more money to flow to you. Most people operate from a consciousness of shortage that says, "If I give, I will have less." But Florence taught the opposite truth. "If I give wisely and joyfully, I will have more." This is because giving breaks the spell of limitation and proves to your subconscious mind that you have more than enough. When you give from abundance consciousness, you are declaring your faith in continuous supply, and faith is the magnet that draws supply to you. The morning declaration about circulation works by reprogramming your deep beliefs about the nature of supply. Instead of seeing money as something finite that must be guarded and hoarded, you begin to see it as infinite energy that becomes more abundant the more freely it flows through your life. You stop being afraid to spend money on things that bring you joy, knowing that joy attracts more money. You stop hesitating to invest in yourself, knowing that what you pour into yourself returns to you multiplied. Florence emphasized that there is a perfect circulation for every person, a divine rhythm of giving and receiving that creates continuous abundance when we align with it. Some people are meant to give large amounts to few people. Others are meant to give small amounts to many people. Some are called to give money. Others are called to give time, energy, or talents. The key is to find your perfect circulation and follow it faithfully. When you declare each morning, "I am a perfect channel for divine circulation," you are opening yourself to discover your unique way of keeping abundance flowing in your life. You begin to notice opportunities to give that feel joyful rather than obligatory. You start to understand that every act of wise giving is actually an investment in your own prosperity. You realize that the universe uses your giving to create space for even greater receiving. This principle revolutionizes your entire approach to money. Instead of clutching it desperately, afraid it won't return, you begin to handle it with confidence and trust. Instead of spending grudgingly, worried about running out, you spend consciously, knowing that wise expenditure is another form of circulation. Instead of giving reluctantly out of duty, you give joyfully out of abundance. The morning practice of declaring your commitment to divine circulation creates a powerful shift in your energy field. Money begins to sense that you are a safe place to land because you won't trap it or hoard it. Opportunities begin to appear because the universe knows you will use them wisely and pass the blessings along. People begin to want to do business with you because they can feel your abundance consciousness rather than your scarcity fears. Florence taught that the person who understands circulation never lacks because they have aligned themselves with the very principle that creates abundance. They have learned to be a river rather than a reservoir, a channel rather than a container, a distributor of blessings rather than an accumulator of possessions. The ultimate purpose of morning declarations is not just to attract money, but to awaken to your true identity as an inherently abundant being. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that abundance is not something you achieve, it is something you are. It is not a destination you reach, but a consciousness you embody. When you truly understand this, everything changes, and your morning practice becomes a celebration of who you already are rather than an attempt to become someone different. Every morning when you declare, "I am abundance, I am prosperity, I am the perfect expression of infinite supply," you are not trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You are remembering something that has always been true. You are awakening to the reality that abundance is your nature, prosperity is your birthright, and wealth is the natural expression of your divine identity. This recognition changes everything about how you move through your day. Instead of looking for abundance to come to you, you begin to radiate abundance from within you. Instead of waiting for prosperity to find you, you express prosperity in every thought, word, and action. Instead of hoping wealth will appear in your life, you embody the wealth consciousness that makes material wealth inevitable. Florence understood that most people have been taught to identify with their limitations rather than their possibilities, with their current circumstances rather than their infinite potential. They look in the mirror and see someone who struggles with money instead of seeing a divine being who is temporarily having a human experience of limitation. They define themselves by their bank balance instead of by their spiritual inheritance. But when you consistently declare your true identity each morning, you begin to live from a completely different reference point. You stop seeing yourself as someone who has financial problems and start seeing yourself as someone who is learning to manage infinite supply. You stop believing that lack is your reality and start knowing that abundance is your truth, expressing itself in perfect timing. This shift in identity creates profound changes in your behavior and choices. You begin to make decisions from abundance consciousness rather than scarcity consciousness. You invest in experiences that align with your wealthy identity rather than choosing options based on fear and limitation. You speak about money from a place of authority rather than anxiety, from wisdom rather than worry. The morning declaration becomes a daily reminder of who you really are beneath all the conditioning, programming, and temporary circumstances. It connects you with the part of yourself that has never known lack, has never experienced shortage, has never doubted its ability to create whatever it needs. This is not a fantasy. This is your true spiritual identity finally being acknowledged and celebrated. Florence taught that when you fully embody your abundant self, you no longer need to chase money because money begins to chase you. You no longer need to struggle for opportunities because opportunities begin to seek you out. You no longer need to prove your worth because your worth becomes self-evident in everything you do. The secret Florence discovered is that abundance is not something you can have until you know that abundance is something you are. The morning practice of declaring your identity as an abundant being gradually dissolves the false self that believes in limitation and reveals the true self that knows only infinite possibility. Day by day, declaration by declaration, you remember who you really are and begin to live from that remembrance. When you wake up each morning and speak your truth about abundance, you are not just setting an intention for the day. You are aligning with your eternal identity as a being of infinite worth and unlimited potential. You are claiming your place in the divine economy where supply is never ending and prosperity is the natural order of things. Most importantly, you are proving to yourself that you have the power to transform your life through the conscious use of the creative word that lives within you. This is the promise Florence Scovel Shinn made to everyone willing to embrace it. Speak your truth each morning and watch as wealth appears not just in your bank account, but in every area of your life. For wealth, in its truest sense, is not just money, but the full expression of your divine nature made manifest in human form.